Whenever we work with an interior design project, we work with shelves on a day-to-day basis. So it's very important to know the best, easiest, and fastest ways to create these elements. Let's see a few examples. I'm going to show you two different methods to create a shelving system on this vertical surface. First, let me just zoom in a bit more so I can see what I'm doing. Option number one, or the method that I'm going to show you first, is the 3D shape. What this tool does is that you have to define a vertical surface, click on the starting point of this element, and the thickness will be defined like this. I click and I extrude, and I'm going to define that it's going to be 300 millimeters in terms of depth. Hitting enter creates the shape. Now this is not going to fly the way it is, so I'm just going to click on it and define it some more. I'm going to change the thickness to 36 millimeters, and the length should be different. It should be 1600 millimeters as well. Two things are missing at this point. I have to define the base elevation, which is going to be 1300 millimeters, and I'm not really satisfied with the current material, so I'm just going to click on this material selection tool, and I'm just going to go until I find something else. I think this natural pine would be nicely in harmony with my current design. Hit OK, and the shelf is done. Now, let me show you another example which has its own advantages. If I go to Interior, KBB, and Cabinet Door, I have this tool at my disposal. Now, you might ask why we would need a cabinet door to define this element. It's true, the cabinet door is able to create nice insets and cutouts and holes into any kind of piece, but you can also use it to create a shelf like this. First, let me make it into a horizontal element, like that, and I'm just going to use the same dimensions as before to define it to look a similar element as I did before. So I'm just going to add this to 1600, and this value should be 300, and the thickness should be similar. It should be 36 millimeters, like that. Now, question is, why would I need to use this tool if I have the same result? But there's a couple of extra things I can implement here to make this a bit nicer than I did before. First of all, if I zoom in, I see that the material on the sides is not really good because it's going in a downward direction, but I want to change it to a horizontal one. So I'm just going to click on this side material tab, and I define that I want the material direction to be 90 degrees. There's another huge advantage of using this tool to create a shelf like that, and that is to be found on the second tab, Outer Edges, where I can actually round off the edge with a 2 millimeter radius. That's a nice and natural look. I'm just going to hit OK and position this element the way I want. There are actually one thing missing. I have to define the height or the base elevation of this element, which is going to be 800 millimeters. And that's how you do it. Make sure that you're always using the method which is the most convenient and fastest in that particular situation. For similar tips, tricks, and ideas, visit the website and check out the webinars.